What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got Albert up bright and early. Good morning to you. Good morning to Bill, Cheryl, Chris, Corey. We got Corey Edmond. That was good morning to you. We got Frank, Georgia, Jay, Jeff, Kevin. Good morning to you. We got Lauren, Lucian, Martina, Rob, all my people out in YouTube land. We got Jeffrey. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the background. They're just not gonna say anything. They refuse. It's okay. You throw a comment in, throw a stock in, it's okay. But otherwise, hit that like and subscribe button regardless. And look at this monthly chart on SPY. That is wild. that that is some crazy momentum. Let's flip it over to a daily. Futures, we had futures down a little bit last night. We started to rebound a little bit. A little bit of turbulence in oil land. So you have Netanyahu saying that we're not going to attack some oil fields, so oil's getting clobbered. Some of the stocks were a little iffy. Everything kind of came right back. Everything came right back. So for the most part, at least. Otherwise, we got SPY pretty much at the close, so not much change from day to day. But we know all the momentum was in the bullish direction for pretty much all of yesterday. It wasn't high flying. It's some like individual candles, maybe it was. Otherwise, it was a little just melting up and staying the course. So we'll see. We got the cues. Before we go to the cues for support at yesterday's VPOC. So 584.22. If we start to get under it, probably the lows of, I would say probably the 50% retracement of yesterday's candle. Go a little further, you got 581.26. Stretch target to the downside would be 579.74. If we really have, I think we're going to need some kind of catalyst or some kind of news to get us down there. Otherwise, that is quite the gap to start the week and to carry through. So I don't think we get down there. I don't think we get to the lows of yesterday. If we do pull back a little bit, look for that 50% retracement. I think the momentum is still pretty strong in a bullish direction. Otherwise, we got cues. So we got the cues that is basically the same. So pretty much right at the close of yesterday. We had a bunch of earnings coming this morning. Not too many bad ones. I think Humana's down, but that was we pretty much hit the top line estimates. I think we have a little lower forecast on that one. Otherwise, all the other earnings kind of came in good. Didn't really have anything that was like shocking the market for the most part, at least that I saw, unless you guys find something different. But Q's hanging out still. We do have one little resistance ahead of us. That's somewhere around 497.94. We hit that yesterday. We've gone through that already. I think that is a doable spot to break through. And then the next big target on the Qs, at least, I'm looking at 502.26. So a little bit more room to the upside if we start breaking yesterday's VPOC, which is sitting at 497.58. That's going to take us down into, again, I don't know if we get there, but I think that was a good support. 495.89. That would be pretty much the opening price of yesterday. That also takes me to a pretty good support that just got built into the Qs. So even a retest, I think that kind of holds. A really stretch target, but again, I don't think we come close to this one today. But 493.49, maybe longer term. That's such a good support that we could just put in at 495.77. So that's the one I want to see hold. If we do pull back, Qs have a little bit more room to the upside. SPY just infinity, and we'll see what happens there. We'll see. All right, so I see some tickers coming in. We got Nvidia, so we'll take a look at that one first. I see some AMD in the chat too. We'll cover that one next. We'll start with the chips. Chips, I think, are a little bit on the weaker side today for the most part, so a little bit of a gap down. But even with that said, I think there was something to do with export from China. I'm not sure the exact headline, but it wasn't a great one for the chip sector. That being said, we had a nice little dip down. We got down to somewhere around the 135.49 zone. None of that held, and we just kind of rallied right back. So still showing a little strength, even with some negative news for the entire sector. In terms of where we're sitting, I think if I did a fib, we're pretty close to that 618 retracement from yesterday. Yeah, I think we got to look at Yesterday's open, so 136.47. We'll see if that holds. Otherwise, we could go into some of that pre-market level. But I think that would be my sign. We had a little bit lower. I don't know. You got 135.64 is your next target to the downside. After that, maybe we kind of come in, close this gap up, and then we're looking for 134.90. So it has some room. It is a bearish gap and go. We are very close to the all-time highs. What we were discussing yesterday in the room, I think is still kind of holding true. I was like, yeah, I think with this break, with this move, you're going to have some resistance, probably coming in around this 140 zone, we'll call it, but 139.80, somewhere around there. We were talking about maybe all-time highs yesterday. We're like, I don't know if we hit it. That's a big, massive move. But even this candle here, this is a gap and go. This is not I'm panic selling. This is a retrace gap, and it kind of just ended up going bullish engulfing candle after we hit a massive gap up, all-time highs. I think we do hit all-time highs this year. I think Nvidia keeps going. I don't really see it pulling back, but yesterday was a good breakout day, pretty strong bullish momentum. I think we said this yesterday, I think we have maybe some kind of a resting day or two after that, and then we get ready to go. So I'm still on that camp. I don't think Nvidia just falls apart. Even with the negative headlines, there's just too much momentum in it. So I think there is buy the dip opportunity. Is it going to be a decent day trade for today? Maybe if you get really good risk to reward on it. Otherwise, I think we're just hanging out in here. I'd be shocked if we do make all-time highs today. I don't think today's the day, but a little bit of a rest. And then for day trade purpose, I think it's gonna be a little tough. If you are in it for a swing and you're just panicked, I think try to hold through it. That's what I would do. Just try to hold through it. It looks good, and it's not gonna be a straight path to all-time highs. So a little bit of volatility up there, some back and forth, maybe a bear trap or two, and we'll see. AMD, that's going to be the same with the overall chip sector. So that one got a little bit of a gap down. Even this one's kind of opening right into a support. This is a retest gap from yesterday. Not really that important of a retest gap. We haven't really done anything on AMD for the last 2 days, but we are opening right into a support. I've got my 20 EMA right below us. It hasn't been that strong, I would say Thursday, Friday, Monday. But overall, generally speaking, we're pretty high up there. So again, if we have some kind of consolidation, the overall longer trend is bullish. You are opening into support. You got that 20 EMA to prop you up a little bit. That's sitting at 162.69. You also have another level of support from VPOC right there as well. So even if we break down from here, I don't know that this thing just doesn't get bought back up and it just remains more choppy. I don't see the bullish momentum obviously coming in today. For right now, at least, unless something happens during the day. But for right now, I don't see where I have to be like, yes, I need in. That same note, I don't think I want to short this one. I don't. If I was short this one, I want to short it as high as possible. I'd start looking at like 166.12. But even if we get through that, you probably look for like 166.85. So I think it almost a do nothing day. I think I'd rather be buying it out of the gate. I'd probably be patient, wait for a candle, just see what happens. But I think we have limited downside to it for the moment, and it's probably going to lead to more of a chop day. So chips could get a little sticky, but they've been moving. I actually rather think I think I'd rather buy if I had to pick one out of the gate to buy AMD or Nvidia. I think we're at a little bit more of a support on AMD, so I'd probably have to go AMD out of the gate if I had to choose. But based on the fact there's 18 billion stocks in the market, maybe be extra patient, just kind of wait for that setup to come in. US extending cap on AI chips. Yep. 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 Google. So Google. Wow, daily chart looks kind of interesting. Again, on a swing purpose, it's not bad. Almost looks like a little inverted head and shoulders. It's well off of the. I mean, looks a little inverted head and shoulders. That looks like a textbook print out the picture of an inverted head and shoulders and paste it on every refrigerator in the house. That looks beautiful. That being said, for day trade, And again, I think the concern and the talks that they're going to break up Google. I think if they break up Google, it's probably worth more than the actual listing price. So I don't think that's negative news toward Google. Day trade purpose, I'd probably be a little bit more cautious. You are opening into a resistance. I would expect maybe some kind of a pullback. If it doesn't pull back, it just starts shooting up. You still have probably 167.61. So I think we're still in a little bit of a chop zone. But I think if you're looking for a swing trade, even for a day trade purpose, I'd see if we could get back to like 165.07. Come back, retrace this a little bit, just knowing that we have a resistance right there. Some people might be taking profits. This is starting to look interesting though for a swing trade. So that's the first kind of higher low. We can make that higher high, and we got a lot of room to the northbound side. So not bad. See if we get a pullback though. Let's put this one higher on the chart, higher on the list. Oh, we got Microsoft MSFT. Why do I keep tapping a Y? I'm not sure. Microsoft. So we back into that little downtrend. Same thing on this one. We are opening right into a resistance. So I have one right here at 421.64. We are inside day from yesterday. You still got the 100 and the 50 right above us to kind of hold us back a little bit. So I'm expecting maybe a little chop, but not bad start to the day. Probably looking for like a 420.36 entry. That also lines up perfectly with this imaginary upline that I drew. So, I mean, I think I'm a good artist. That's what I think I am. I don't know. But I would see if you could get that little bit of a pullback. I think we probably get that. And then I'd like to see 420.22 hold. Again, we're kind of back into this is our support resistance diagonally. We broke it, got a little scary. You did get that bounce off that 200. You're probably in a little bit of chop here, but if you could get it on pullbacks and remain above probably yesterday's candle, I'll go a little bit more. I think you should probably want to stay above yesterday's candle, but for safety purpose, I think you start breaking 415.77. Maybe you're going for double bottom, or this thing starts to actually break down a little bit. Earnings coming out soon, I guess. You got October 30th, so 2 weeks, about 2 weeks until that. Otherwise, and again, today at least, earnings have been good. We didn't really see too much on tech, but for most of the year, you've had that run up into earnings type play. Microsoft, I don't think would be really any difference. Longer term targets, probably take it at like 431, 34. Obviously not day trade, but maybe an interesting swing on that one too. You got Apple, Apple close to all-time highs. Or did we hit it? No, we didn't hit it yet. All right, cancel the celebration. We're not there yet. We can't play pump it up yet. Really good gap up. Was there news on this one? Sales in China have been slipping, but it's still an important yada yada yada. All right, I don't know. Apple iPhone 16 powers record sales. Didn't they say demand was weak? Nobody wanted it. Now all of a sudden record sales. All right, you're not too far off from all-time highs. So we got all-time highs sitting at 237.23. This is a retrace gap. You are opening into a really big resistance on this one. I would probably be more interested in the fade. That being said, really strong stock for today. Normally, I'd be looking for like a 230.56. That would be my stretch target for today. Otherwise, I think if you're playing this fade, you're kind of looking to play it down into this 231.83. That covers yesterday's high plus really good support resistance. So I kind of like this one to the downside at open, just selling on some news. I think literally the last 2 weeks, all we heard is iPhone sales have been weak, demand has been slow, and now you have record sales. So somebody manipulated something, but very close to all-time highs. Interesting. All right, Marvell. And then longer term on Apple probably continues bullish, I would assume, but for today, maybe a little bit of a fade. Marvell looks interesting. There's not much to hold us back. I got a little volume up into the $80.90 zone all the way through 81.29. So That could cause us a little issue. Let's see if we got some exact pricing up here as well. 81.49, and that's got me at like 84. So a little bit of resistance on that one. That looks a heck of a like a decent breakout. Big retest gap as well. Market kind of was iffy this morning. Maybe this one gets a pullback. If you want to try it bullish, there is room. It's starting to get a little panicky around $1.40 on it. And then if it could break that, you have a really good trade on your hands. If this one could pull back a little bit, if we get any kind of pullback, I like it long. It's just a matter of where do I get in. I don't really feel great getting in right here out of the gate, but if we could get a pullback, specifically even into like maybe 78.45-ish, somewhere around that zone would give me a really good risk reward on this trade, and it does look bullish. So not bad. Not bad. We got Baba. Yep. China everywhere down. PDD. You got Baidu. You got Baba. You got all of them gapping down pretty significantly. A little bit of a red day. I'm not sure if that retest is going to matter as much, meaning that I don't think we get the full on retest would take us up to like 107.76. China stocks have been moving a little weird, extra wide range. Makes sense. I mean, you've had a huge breakout on this. I think for right now, and again, it's gonna be tough. It's kind of I know some of you guys keep asking me about like Oxy and some of the oil stocks. A lot of times the pattern's not gonna matter as much. It's gonna be more news based, and stocks kind of go through that cycle. So you could be holding this thing for a swing to the short side, which is where I think this one probably pulls back a little bit. Maybe we look to fill this gap of somewhere around $96.29. Let me see if there's any other volume that could hold us up before that. You'll see a little bit of maybe down to like the $176 mark. Otherwise, I think if you could get down to like this, yeah, 96.89, 96.90. So a little bit of a pullback. That's probably also about a 50% retracement. So I think there's some buyers looking to step in. That being said, if you're in a swing trade on anything China related, anything oil related, they're very newsline oriented at this point. And Baba's not always like that. Chinese stocks are not always like that, but right now it is, where they could come out and sweeten the pot for some more stimulus or do something crazy overnight, and any shorts get clobbered. Same thing with if you're going long. So it's tricky. I still like it in general. Overall, the sector I think probably ends up breaking out. This looks like an interesting gap down. I wouldn't mind fading this one. Uh, but it would have to come up higher. So at least into 105.08. And then maybe it could get a little bit more. Again, I don't think we hit yesterday. Maybe you look for like a 106.42. Give yourself a pretty good risk reward on this trade if this thing bounces. You are at the 20. Maybe that could support us up. But if it comes in higher, yeah, I can see a little breakdown. We're kind of closing through all the way back since September 26th. We're now under all those VPOCs. I think we do come down here, but it's not going to be in an easy straight line. I don't think. I don't think. But pretty good for a short side at least. Coin, COIN. Coin just ripped yesterday. Coin just ripped. Good breakout candle. Uh, kind of looks a little like QCOM, a little bit. But nice little breakout yesterday. For the most part, we're pretty much flat, still under yesterday's VPOC. Let's see if you can get through 195.61. And then you got all sorts of resistance up into the zone. So I think if you're trading to targets, someone's target is going to land probably within here. Stretch goal, if we get some continuation, we're going to need Bitcoin to cooperate, but 208.74 would take us up to, I think, that next level. Otherwise, look for some kind of a pullback, even if that kind of comes in at 190, 190.74 to the downside. And that being said, you're still at some support here too. So probably a little bit of chop again. Same thing with most of those companies. QCOM the same. Anything that had that big candle yesterday, I think could take a day off. I think they could all rest a little bit. So a little bit of chop. If you're gonna go short, try to short as high as possible. If you're gonna go long, I would be patient and just see if you get close to 190.55, somewhere into that vicinity. But we'll see if it wants to have any continuation. If Bitcoin starts breaking, coin's gonna go with it. HAS. Oh, perfect head and shoulders. Yep. I was for Google. Tesla, I think we got that bounce off the 200 perfectly yesterday. I don't know if this is quite tweezer bottoms. Let's see. So the low of this one was 214.38. The low of this one was 213.78. Not quite perfect tweezer bottoms, but almost as close as you could get off that 200. We still got that 100 that we've been just playing a little ping pong back and forth between the 200 and the 100. This is a gap and go to the bull side. I do like the fact that we're above both yesterday and Friday's VPOC, so that's not bad. Target to the higher side on this one, I'd be looking for 223.07. I guess I'd probably want to stick more bullish. I think I'd want to be a little more bullish on it. Also the 223.07 level. That one we did mess with already on Friday. So if we could break that, your next target up is 227.42. Which is not bad. Otherwise, you got this double two high wave candles. Maybe we could stay kind of in here. That's your candle with all your volume on it. As soon as you start breaking that 223.50, which is going to be tough to break, but I think if we can, you have a nice little pop on it. But you have good stops, even on a swing trade. Even if you want to throw your stops kind of underneath yesterday's low, and yesterday's low did come in lower than the previous day, so you also have a mini little bear trap kind of built into this too. So if you're taking a swing, I'd have my stop underneath yesterday. Really, you probably could go high of yesterday, break the high of yesterday for entering into a swing if you like it. Today, I think I'd probably lean a little bit more to the bull side. That being said, probably some chop and just be careful of how you get into it. New York Manufacturing Index was way down. New York doesn't like to do things anymore. They just, it's a different New York. Different New York. They came in at minus 11.9 versus 3.4. I wonder if any of the port strikes have anything to do with that. China. GS. Goldman Sachs, I think, reported today, right? Yep. Goldman Sachs, they came in just a slight beat of 21, almost 22% of earnings per share. And then they did beat revenue by 930 million. So fairly good numbers to say the least. Is this an all-time high gap? This is those Goldman Sachs people, they are smart though. Again, this is gonna take me to a territory I'm just not really comfortable trading. Surface level at least, you have, I would say, retest gap. You're every single person ever's profitable on this one. Uh yeah, Warren Buffett, I think he's selling more Bank of America, so he's a little maybe shaky on financial. He's on the 10% now. So now you don't get his reports that come out. But Goldman Sachs, good gap. I would prefer to go short if I had to choose. There's no levels above us that it was a really good report. But I think I would prefer to attempt a fade on this one. Whether that one pans out or not, I don't know. So maybe we could hit like an intraday double top to take advantage of, or something to that extent. Maybe some pre-market breakdown. It might not be an easy short, but that's the way I would throw that one. I'll throw it into the short direction. All right, let's see what else we got. Affirm AFRM. We got 4 minutes left. Hmm. Affirm still looking fairly strong. You got earnings coming out on these guys November 6th. So 3 weeks ish. Oh, they're gonna come out right after election day. So they're maybe their earnings don't even matter. They're gonna sneak them in under the disguise of US elections. But we'll see. You're starting to hit some resistance up here. Looks like we're trying to get some continuation. Again, this is also a retest gap. Maybe it doesn't retest that much. Look for like 49.17, see if that wants to hold. If it does, you're looking $50.79. You're looking 51.25. Anything past that, anything past 51.25, I think it's got a lot of room to run. Two very, very strong days in a row. Longer term, I'd prefer to look for like a 47.09 entry, maybe even for a swing. Maybe even slightly lower, honestly. $45. But right now it's looking like it wants a continuation again for day number 3. So probably want to remain bullish on it if it comes down a little. All right, let's see. We got MU on the list. MU. Uh, I've got a pretty strong resistance on this one, somewhere around 108.02. If that could break, I've got moves up to about 110.68. This is a little bit of a gap down today, so you are trapping some bulls. I think if you're going to try to get into this one, your first spot you're looking at probably somewhere around 106.62. So you have a little room to the downside again. It's a nice little bounce right off that 200. I think longer term, you probably have some kind of pullback a little bit, something like this, and then it wants to go if it does. This is our first attempt into that first resistance over here. And then I got my second one, like we set up at 110.68-ish. Starting to look good. We are getting pretty, not pretty far, but a little bit far away from some of those moving averages. So either we do nothing, we chop for a little bit, let some of those moving averages come back, or I think what would accelerate the buying is if we actually pull back and those things start coming up, then that will help push us quicker. So, but a little shaky at open, a little shaky at open today. You have some room to the downside. You'd probably want to be quick at open if you're going to take that one. TIGR. U.S. FinTech Holding Company. Oh, U.S. UP FinTech Holding Company. Uh, Kind of looks like a parabolic move. So I'd be careful on this one. My guess would be lighter volume. The last 1, 2, 3 quarters they missed on. Before that, they've been doing okay. But you had a long-term consolidation down here. You got that explosive pop, explosive move. Looks like on some kind of news. Ran right into resistance a little bit. Probably some people had some crazy targets up there. You're about 50% 50% retracement of that entire move, but I think this is going to trade a little bit strange. I'd be careful on this one. But you're at an interesting buy spot. I'd say if it comes a little bit lower, see if you get down to like 621. Otherwise, everybody on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Unfortunately, that is the bell, so I got to disconnect, but you guys are awesome. And I will catch you guys all tomorrow. Be safe.